Hello, students. Here we will discuss phonological rules. So, phonological rules describe systematic change in sound. See, here I'm reading these rules for you, right? So, what is written here and what I'm speaking, the way I'm speaking, both are different. So phonological rules is sound, right? Rules for sound. What sounds are possible? What sounds are received, right? Right by a listener. So that is divided into four categories: assimilation, dissimilation, deletion, and insertion. So here phonological rules describe systematic changes in sound, not abrupt changes, but systematic changes in sounds that occur in spoken language. Important, that is phonological rules is spoken language, right? When we speak something, then what changes occur, we are going to discuss, and these changes are categorized into four: assimilation, dissimilation, deletion, and insertion. Assimilation is when a sound becomes more like neighboring sound. That is, you should keep in mind, when a sound becomes more like a neighboring sound. For example, here we'll see that's a rule type, means what the, either it is rule type means it is assimilation, dissimilation, insertion, whatever, right? Description, like assimilation. So what's a description? What is called assimilation? What changes occur? What place of articulation is there? And an example. And phonological changes, what change occurs? For example, place assimilation and voicing assimilation. Two examples. Assimilation means a consonant takes on the place of articulation for a following consonant. So that takes place, right? Takes place of articulation. For example, in Paris, the phrase is in Paris. So when we speak in Paris together, so we listen M, and the same they are talking about change, I in Paris. So that is in, and then M, Paris. So that change to bilabial M before P. Why? I tell you. Because here I'm not explaining this much, I am explaining this way. Suppose here in Paris. In Paris. But when you speak, it sounds in Paris. In Paris. And that is the sound which assimilates in Paris. Why? Because this uh, M occurs because of this N, because N is also bilabial, and M is also bilabial, right? So that is why bilabial, right? So because of this bilabial, that both the sounds are in Paris, in Paris. So here two sounds mix together in Paris, right? So that becomes in Paris. And why M is produced? Because of N. This is the preceding sound, right? And because of preceding sound, that change occurs. So that process is called phonological process, right? Now moving to next example. Next example is voicing assimilation. That is place assimilation, how place changes, right? And here, that is, here we have seen that in the following consonants, that is, following consonant is P, right? And preceding consonant is N. In Paris becomes M in Paris, right? Okay, now in next simulation example, voicing, how sound becomes voicing. Example is that's a preceding consonant. If preceding consonant is voice, so then following consonant is also voice. They have given the example of dogs. So suppose the dog and dogs. So when you make plural, so is that gs is voice. It becomes the voice sound. Why it becomes voice sound? Voice sound because of g. S also becomes voice sound, right? So what they are saying that, they are saying that the voice consonant takes on voicing of a preceding consonant. So it changes because of preceding consonants. Similarly, here the sorry here the English plural morphemes, as I have already explained you, right? The same they are talking about dog, right? And when voiceless s becomes, however, separately voice s is voiceless, but when it comes with g, then it becomes voiced. For example, another example, cat and cats, right? So because s is voiceless, this s is also becomes voiceless. Here in case of dog and dogs, right? Dogs and dogs. So here what's the change occurs? Because of t, sorry, because of t, that sorry. Hmm. So that's a cats. So because of t, s becomes s becomes voiceless. Because of g, this s becomes voiced. So the same rule they are talking about, that's a consonant takes on the voicing of a preceding sound, means consonant influence because of preceding consonants. Okay, now number 2, dissimulation. Dissimulation is when a sound becomes less like nearby, just opposite of assimilation. That is more like nearby sound, that's the less like nearby sound. Often to make two similar sounds easier to distinguish. So that is what manner dissimulation. Example is a sound changes its manner. Earlier we have seen that's a place, uh, and now we are seeing that's a manner of articulation. Dissimulation, the sound changes its manner of articulation to be less like an adjust adjacent sound. For example, the older form murmur, right? So that's a murmur changed into marble in English. Rule is that the marble, right? So R changed to L to avoid repeating the liquid sound. Sound is L. Marble, right? Marble, this way. So that manner of articulation changes, not place of articulation, but manner of articulation. Another example we see, that's a less common. Vowels change to be less like a nearby vowel. They don't change, right? Vowels change less like a nearby vowel. Some speakers pronounce regular as regular, right? So regular is regular, means they, it's very less vowel is, that's a u, right? So that is that vowel change to be less like nearby, that is u, and that is r. So different, very different. Here we can understand the sound l the sound L, second sound L, right? So the sound, second L sound can change to R, right? Or another consonant to break up the similar liquid. This can also be analyzed as consonant dissimilation. Why? Because regular. So that's regular, that's a sound L, sound can change R, regular, right? Regular becomes regular. So regular, but new sound because of this. So that's a regular, reg and lar. So that this U sound change in R, regular. Okay. So that is called assimilation, where again please keep in mind that's a change to be less like, means very less like nearby, new sound produce, you can say that. So there is a new sound produces, which is called dissimilation. Okay, now third is elision or deletion. As name suggests that there is one sound which is deleted. What's a deletion? Deletion is when a sound or syllable is omitted. When a sound or syllable is omitted from a word or a phrase. From a word or a phrase, often in last of casual speech. Right? How? How a syllable or sound omitted? Let us see. Consonant deletion. A consonant is deleted typically in a cluster or between other sounds. What they are saying, that a consonant is deleted typically in a cluster or between other sounds. The consonant is deleted. How? Example. Let us discuss the example. Casual pronunciation of fifth. So that's a fifth. So that's a fifth. So cluster because of difficult cluster. So fee and that's a fur, often deleted, and that simplifying difficult fifth, fifth. So that's a kind of fifth, and it becomes, that's a cluster is deleted, right? So that's a consonant. A consonant is deleted typically in a cluster or between two other sounds, means in this spelling, that's a cluster is 1 2 3 4, right? So it's a same sound, है ना? Because of this fifth, the F is often deleted. Fifth. So that F is often deleted, simplifying fifth, right? Fifth, like this, fifth. So this is deletion, right? Another example. So that's a consonant deletion, and vowel deletion, that's or syncope, that is vowel deletion. A vowel is an unstressed syllable is deleted. So example is police. So he said not police, it's a police. So that's a P. Okay. Bliss. O is deleted here. The unstressed schwa. Actually, this is P less. This way, right? So this is called schwa. This sound is schwa, right? So that is schwa, right? So that is deleted. That schwa is deleted. The same they are talking about. What they are saying, that they are saying that this, the unstressed schwa, this is schwa, is dropped. Bliss. So it becomes police become bliss this way. That is deletion. Then last is insertion. Insertion is again name suggested epenthesis is that's the insertion when a sound is added. Where sound is omitted, here sound is added or inserted in a word, typically to break up a difficult consonant sequence, because sometimes our tongue does not allow. So that's a to break up a difficult consonant sequence or a specific phonological context. For example, vowel insertion. So that's a paragon schwa insertion. Schwa insertion, that's space, when a space is created. That is also called schwa insertion. How? The short vowel, often schwa, e, is inserted to separate two similar sounds. Important. To separate two similar sounds. That's a this sound is created, inserted. How? We'll see. That's a when we make plural with the s. Sibilant is that's a what we can say that sibilant is hissing sound, right? S, Z, shaw, shaw, these are the hissing sounds. So that's a buses. So that's a bus, right? And is, so that is extra. How? We'll see. Buses. So that's a buses. So this sound buses schwa, this e is inserted to separate the two sibilants z and s, because both are sibilant, both are hissing sound, so that s and z cannot be spoken together. That how? Not possible, our tongue does not allow. So that one sound, that is schwa, right? Schwa is inserted. So our tongue insert one, add one sound, that is schwa, that is between horses. So that's a horses. So horses, so this sound is inserted, this is. So this is the example of uh, schwa, right? Vowel insertion. Consonant insertion, an extra consonant is inserted often in a complex cluster. Complex cluster, hamster. So that's a, as we pronounce hamster, so that's a p sound is p, hamster. However, it's not p, hamster, right? But that's a ham, right? And then p, a voiceless stop p is inserted. Voiceless, not voiced. Voiceless because it is coming in between. So voiceless between the nasal m, right, and the fricative s. And here in between m and s, here p sound, right? So that's sorry, not p sound, that's a m sound. M sound, right? So that is nasal m, and then that after m, p sound. See, I'm repeating this example. For example, spelling hamster, right? So that's a hamster. Okay. Now, when we speak ham, okay, fine. But then a voiceless stop p is inserted. So here voiceless stop p is inserted. Here p is inserted when we speak between nasal, that's a nasal, m is nasal, right? Nasal, and the fricative s, right? Sharing the bilabial place of articulation. So when we speak hams, so our two lips are joined, right? When we speak ham, so that's a two lip are hams. So that's our two lips are joined, hams, and that is why p sound is added here, right? So that is hamster. This is an example of consonant insertion. Now we will see number of examples, more examples of how a underline form is realized as a surface form. How a underline form is realized as a surface form. Let us see. Assimilation. Example, assimilation makes a sound more similar to neighbor. We have already discussed, right? So that makes a sound more similar to neighbor. First example, voicing regressive dogs. So we have already discussed this. That's a because of G, right? Because of G, S becomes voicing because G is voiced sound. Here I'll move fast. Number two, because of cats, right? So in case of cats, right? So that is because of T, voiceless, S becomes voiceless, sorry. And because of E, we can compare. G is voiced, S becomes voice. T is voiceless, here S becomes voiceless. So dogs, that is aspirated, voice sound. Cats, voiceless sound, right? So same, why? Because assimilation means that is more similar to neighbor, right? More similar to neighbor. Another example, wished, right? Voicing progressive, wished. So that's a wished, that a do, right? So here voicing because sure, right? So wish, wished, right? So that is devoiced t, wished, wish, right? So that's a wished. So wished, however this is wished, this is wished, right? But that's a sound is, that's a wished. So devoice, voicing progressive, wished. Okay. Now next is in Paris. We have already discussed in Paris, that becomes in Paris, right? In Paris we have already discussed earlier. Now encore, right? So that's a encore. So here that's a encore. This encore. So these n, this n becomes encore, encore, right? So that's a encore. N becomes n, right? Before velar k. So that's a n core, right? So what they say, that's a like neighbor sound. So that is translation is ang and core, right? So ang core, anchor, anchor, right? So that ang, right? Ang, and because of this neighbor sound, this is the neighbor sound, this n becomes n, anchor, because of this velar sound. So that affects the sound actually, previous sound. Tenth, another example, tenth. So that's a 10. So that becomes tenth, right? So that's a tenth, theta, right? Tenth. Okay, tenth. So here n becomes dental n, tenth. So that sound is tenth. Okay. So that's a 10, 10th, 10th, 10th. Okay. So here that's a because of this T sound. Okay. And then this N little bit this one, 10th. Next is collisions. Collisions, did you fast speech? So that's a for fast. Did you, right? Did you? So the cluster, do you focus in single articulate? That's a jaw. Did you? So did you? That's a when you say did you, right? And when you speak together, so did you? So that is becomes this way. Did you? Did you? Sorry. No, no. I'm telling you. Wait a minute. That's a did you? Did did you? Did you? So that it sounds not, it sounds like did you. So that this did you, that becomes jerk a sound. Jerk a sound. So that why? Because of neighboring sound, this and this neighboring sound, that becomes jerk, right? Another example, nasalized sound, in can, right? So that's a can. So that can, the a nasalized sound, nasal, right? So that's a can. So that becomes nasal, a. This a become a. This a sound becomes a sound because of n. Can, can. So this a sound when we speak, so that's a can. Nasal, because of nasal sound, this is also a. Then sing. So sing, that's a n, right? So because of nasal sound, right? Nasalize before a nasal consonant. So that is I becomes nasalize, right? Sing, nasalize, and before a nasal consonant. So because of this sing, ये nasal consonant, this is a nasal consonant. So that is also effect of this consonant, that's a sing. So that becomes ing. Dog, right? Dog. So that's a final vowel dog. So that's a becomes G due to final G, dog. So D becomes dog, right? G, gog, dog. So it sounds that's gog, dog as such. Top. So top, pop. That sounds, however, you will not be able to digest. It needs practice, but then what they are saying, alveolar T becomes, this T becomes P. It sounds actually. So top becomes pop, top. Soup. So the S slightly rounded because of the following rounded vowel. Soup. So somewhere because U becomes soup, right? Soup. This way. I'm moving little bit. Key in key. Key. That's a key is the vowel stop K is fronted and before is key. So front vowel key. 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 So that's a little bit ear sound. Key. this way. Octo, right? Octo assimilates the following octo. Cluster sound, cluster assimilation. So octo, octo becomes otto, otto. Okay, then immoral, 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 immoral becomes immoral, immoral, immoral. Okay, then illogical, illogical. So that becomes liquid. Illogical, that's a illogical, right? So that's a illogical. Becomes N becomes L, and here illogical, that's N become L. So illogical becomes illogical, illogical, illogical. It seems, it sounds again and again, I'm telling you. Play. So it becomes, that's a liquid. L is partially devoiced after voiceless P. Play. So that's a play, lay, right? So L is more dominating than city. So city, it's a C and then city. So that T becomes a flap R, city. Vowels becomes first stress, city, city. R, it sounds R, city. Then used to. So used to, that's a used to, used to. So that's a use, use, used to, used to. Mix, that sound mix, right? Because of affected by neighbor. Overall, with these examples, you can understand, you should understand that that's a sound changes because of environment or neighboring sound. It is when sound changes according to neighboring sound, so that is called assimilation. Now dissimilation, similar, less similar, it does not copy the sound, it's not, that is less similar, right? It does not much match like assimilation. That's the just opposite concept of assimilation. Example, kernel. So when we speak kernel, so that's a r ka sound. So that kernel, so that does not less similar to ker and r. So r is totally different from this spelling, but then r sound produce, that is dissimilar. For example, February. So when we speak February, right? So that's a yoga sound. That sound February, 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 year sound. So that's different from Feb and Yeri, February. Surprise, right? So that's a surprise. So the first R is often deleted, surprise, right? So that surprise this way, right? Then purple. So that is, purple is what? Purple. So that's a R change into L, purple. So it sounds as purple, 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 purple. Little L, this is little L, and this is longer L, right? Longer L, little L, longer L. Then chimney. So that's chim and knee. So it seems, it sounds, that's a chimney, chimney. So B sound, we listen, chimney. Then pilgrim, that's a pilgrim. So that's first R changes is L, pilgrim. So pilgrim. So here that is first R, this change into pilgrim. That's a pilgrim. L is more like we listen more. Then regular. So that's a regular changes are the first L. Regular we have already discussed. Six we have discussed similar word, right? Sixth. So that's a sixth. Sixth. है ना? So that stop T. So that sixth, right? Then mm, that's Spanish. Red. So that's a red is Mandarin Chinese. Okay. Now deletion. Examples of deletion. Cluster. Right. So that's a cluster. So here T is deleted. Cluster. Cluster. So that T is deleted. Final. A final consonant. Cluster before consonant. So that is next day. How? Next day. So here T is deleted. Next day. Next day. Next day. Next day. This way. Right? Then used to. So here D is often deleted. Used to. That is D is often deleted in the past tense. So that's a used to. Used to. Used to. Okay. Then probably. Probably. That's a BL, right? So that's a probably. Then family. Family, that is also family. Family, not family. 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 Then he. So that he is often deleted and stressed. He. He. Right? So that's a he. E. E. E sound. Then about. 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 Is deleted. Right? Government. Government. No. Government. 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 Okay. Dog. Dog. G is deleted. Cup. P. Right? Final P. Cup. Cup. Right? Then French words I'm not. Cupboard. Cupboard is cupboard. 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 Right? So that's a middle P is deleted. This P is deleted. Right? Then in is not. So that's a the vowel not is deleted. Is not. Right? In not the vowel is not. Is not. So is not when you speak is not. So is not. Right? So that is a not. Not. Okay. Then going. So that's a going. The final G. Going. Going. Goi. Goi. Going. Then the word N. N. So that's a N. D. N. Right? Here D is deleted. The man. The. Schwa is the deleted before consonant. The man. The man. Right? So that the man. This is deleted. Now last example, insertion. That's a vowel shaw. Buses. we have already discussed. That's a when we speak buses, buses, right? So that's a buses. So this shaw sound inserted. Then need. So that's a need. So here need, right? So that's a schwa. That is need, right? So that's a N I D need. Then one more D we listen need. Then George, right? So that's a George, George, right? George, hamster we have already discussed. P is inserted. Sense, in sense here, that's a sense, right? So that's sen, that's a L full stop is inserted. N, sen, sense, strength, strength, that's a theta, strength, right? Strength. Drawing, drawing, R sound is inserted to prevent sequence of two vowels. Drawing, 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 right? Spanish I don't teach. Then button, right? Button, button, that's a little bit different, but yes, main examples we have understood, right? I have skipped some of the examples because it's not required to you for graduation level. So what I have discussed here, I conclude that's a phonological rules. There are four rules. That's a assimilation, dissimilation, deletion, and insertion. Assimilation, when a neighboring sound affects the consonant or vowel, that is called assimilation. So we have see that cats, because of T it's a voiceless sound, so in case of cats it's a S become voiceless. And dogs, because G is voice sound, that's why S becomes voice sound. So this is example of assimilation. Now come to the dissimilation. So that's a dissimilation is different, right? And here in example of dissimulation, one common example you can remember. So that's a, for example, uh, we kernel, right? So that's a R sound, we listen, R sound, kernel, right? So that is, R is something new word which is inserted here, right? So that seems that we listen, so that's a kernel, right? And then chimney, so B sound, right? Chimney, right? So something which is B is not nothing to do with N, but then that is we listen, right? So that's regular. So R, regular, right? R two types. So that is called assimilation. Deletion, that's next day. So D is deleted next day, right? Used to. So that is probably, probably, right? The probab, right? Lee. So that is family, 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 right? So these are the deletion. Dog, dog, last G is dropped. Cup, last P is cup. Cupboard, right? Cupboard. So that's a P is deleted. So these are the examples. Then insertion, that's a hamster, P is inserted, right? Here we have seen example, right? And then mm, yeah, these are the examples we have discussed, right? And that's a Yeah, these are the sounds we have discussed here. What's the inserted sounds? So that is all. Thank you so much.